disconcerting. Like, I know I muted the microphone, so I went to blow my nose, and to hear it in my ears, I wasn't expecting that. That was weird. By the way, I hit the go live button. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 22 of 5 Dumb Things. I am your host, Darren J. Gendron, and with me, the man who I like to judge every waking moment.
And
Brandon
don't I
J.
know it?
You just stepped right over your own name, Mr. Brandon J. Carr. How dare you? I judge you for that.
I know. I get all of your texts and emails. And
game judgment there.
Post-it notes that somehow wind up in my house.
It's impressive. It's mostly the Ravens from Game of Thrones. It's their off season. I keep them in shape. Sure. Me and Mike Tyson. That's we train them. It's a thing we do.
Okay.
I know that's actually a real fact. Like he trains
ravens.
He trains pigeons.
God, he's weird.
Yeah, I think he's gotten hit in the head a lot.
Yeah, I've seen footage. It is absolutely true.
So I'm making some jokey jokes about judging. This is Friday. We normally record on a Wednesday. We normally book our guests on a Wednesday. I think it was Tuesday that I actually bothered to look at a calendar and realized I have a show that's 3 hours from my house on Wednesday. Fun show, amazingly fun show, but not one that allowed us to record our podcast. So we had to cancel this week, and there was a temptation to just take the week off. But next week we're not doing a show because it's San Diego Comic-Con, and we started writing down on the show notes what we had to talk about. And it's all follow-up dumbness. It's 100% follow-up dumbness. We've talked about everything that we're going to talk about this week, but it's been a big week for nerdy stuff, and we felt that we needed to sit down, hash some of these details out.
And can I say, it's been a terrible couple of weeks in the world and on the world stage. There's actually some terrible stuff going on in the world as we speak that who knows how it's all going to play out. So
you're mentioning Turkey, right?
We're talking about Turkey, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's happening now.
Yeah, that's in progress. There is an internal military coup. People are in the streets. Yeah. So we're going to talk about dumb pop culture stuff because that's how we know how to deal.
It's a good coping method. It's a good distraction. It's there. And like I was about to argue with you for a second there. As soon as you said, like, this has been a terrible couple of weeks, and I thought, oh yeah, you mean the real world?
The real world.
That reality being pretty kind of in the crapper lately. Because I know it's like, no, this has been a great week for geek stuff. Like it's so much stuff. I'm gonna just I wrote down the list, and then I immediately, like, I normally have the list up on another computer, but I was like, I don't need full show notes. I need show notes. So
I can give you subtle hints as we move.
I'm just gonna put that on the chat so that way I can stare at you. And I can stare at the list, and I'm good to go there.
It's covering your mouth. Yes. That's weird. I need to get rid of that. That's disconcerting. It popped up in a little bubble in front of your mouth. There we go.
My mouth is now made of words, and there are words like the word Ghostbusters. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in a weird quantum state right now as we record this. One of us has seen Ghostbusters. One of us has not. One of us has been threatened with murder in the face if he spoils it to the other.
Yeah, there will be a ghost.
Yes,
made if there were spoilers during this segment,
just like that.
I got ravens too, buddy.
Yeah. You have murder ravens.
Mm-hmm.
You have a murder of murder ravens.
That's right.
Yes. Wait, that's crows.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what murder ravens are. They're crows.
Sure.
We're gonna make that up right now.
Yeah, I'll write it down. That'll make it true.
That is the worst science in the world. We said it, therefore it's true. Yeah.
No, that's religion. Yikes.
You son of a bitch. Oh, man. We're not doing that. No, we're talking Ghostbusters. We're talking our religion at this point.
Right, exactly.
This was our childhood. This was, oh, gosh. Did you used to play as Ghostbusters as a kid?
Oh, my God. Absolutely. I had a proton pack. I had the firehouse, the whole big firehouse, and all the dudes that went in it, all dudes. Yeah. And I had Ecto 1. I had a Volkswagen Bug that turned into like a praying mantis thing.
Yeah. One of my sons found some of my Ghostbuster toys recently. The ones that had nothing to do with either the cartoon or the TV series. The skeleton cage that swooped around and clasped people. And
the
blue bug-eyed guy that was a water toy, like you could fill it up.
And you stacked it on top of the other blue guy, and it turned into a bigger blue guy.
Yes.
I remember that.
Oh man, so lots of nostalgia, lots of craziness. It's like I viscerally remember seeing 3 kids as a child. 3 kids. There were 3 kids in my childhood past. No, I remember going and seeing 3 movies as a child. Like we're talking pre-10, like between the ages of 4 and 10. I remember going to the movies 3 times. First thing I ever remember is going and seeing Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
I still have no recollection of that movie as a movie. Like I remember very vague details about it. And
well, I will tell you this just real quick, not to interrupt, but it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Do not watch it. Do not watch it.
Well, I kind of want to watch it because this is what I remember.
Promise you.
This is what I remember. Walking out of the movie theater thinking that was wrong.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to like revel in the
Well, no, as a kid, it was wrong because it wasn't the He-Man that we knew. Yeah. As adults, it's wrong because it's a terrible movie.
That's what I want now. I want to see
it's not fun terrible. Okay. It's like it's not worth revisiting.
Okay, so Masters of the Universe, Return of the Jedi, Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time I ever remember like honing in on a movie, needing to see it in a theater, seeing it. I saw it in a theater in Reno. I saw it as a part of a double bill with
Clue.
Was
it Clue?
No, it was Young Einstein with Yahoo Serious.
Jeepers.
Yeah. Basically watched Ghostbusters, got very giddy about it. Ghostbusters 2, got very giddy about it, and then spent half of Young Einstein trying to pay attention to it, but basically just sitting on my seat thinking about how awesome Ghostbusters 2 was.
It was probably the best use of your time.
It was probably. And that I was thinking of that memory because walking into the theater today, we're talking 4 hours ago, I got that feeling. I realized I was walking into a theater to watch a Ghostbusters movie. I got excited. I got really excited about it. Now I need to do the non-spoiler type stuff, don't I? Basically, the review was see this damn movie, people. It is fun. It is funny. It makes me laugh without effort. Like it's got some very physical jokes. It's got a great fart joke in it. It's got a lot of physical humor to it. Just some great characters to it. It's fun. It's just happiness, and like it's insane that a movie that's this bright and happy and goofy had like such visceral hate outside of it, like just poking at it. Like, why did people do that? This is why you don't hate on things before you actually see it. Like, that's where it gets down to. And I know I'm terrible about this. There's a few movies out there that I don't like, that I still haven't seen. Most of them involve Superman, or some weird murder alien that's pretending to be Superman.
Right.
I have my issues with that, yes. And I get that I'm basically saying that's not my Superman, and that's exactly what I'm saying, because that's not my Superman. But with the Ghostbusters, these are your Ghostbusters. This is the same spirit as the original Ghostbusters movie. Because if we're being brutally honest, Ghostbusters 2 was actually not that good of a movie. You're giving me frowny face on that.
No, I also remember seeing that in the theater. It had a big impact on me. It has some truly great things about it. Peter McNichol is fantastic as Janusz in that movie.
Geez, yeah.
We've talked about Ghostbusters 2 before. The guy who played Vigo is nuts, and I have urged people to go look up his backstory because it's fascinating.
And I still want to get his picture. That's just like to hang up. Probably not right here.
Yeah, that would be distracting.
That would
especially
be
if it moved.
Yeah,
but no, that would be a really good print to have or whatever. Not so much the painting that appears at the end of the movie, which is not one of its finest moments. No. But there's a lot of nostalgia attached to Ghostbusters 2 for me because I also remember seeing it in the theater. I had already seen the first one many, 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 many times on tape at that point. And so it was very exciting going into there. And I'm so looking forward to seeing the new one. I'm less than 24 hours away, and I've been very excited all day.
It's weird to have been getting so cautiously optimistic about something, to like just basically like gritting your teeth through an awful marketing campaign.
Yeah,
when you watch this movie, you will not understand how did the marketing team screw up so badly in making this look like a not funny movie. They had to put effort into how they edited those. That's the only explanation. Is like they were made in Germany. There was a very bizarre understanding of what humor is.
Sure.
Sorry, Germans. I'm just throwing you guys under the bus for no reason.
Right. Like except for your German comedy, The Human Centipede.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just it's between that, there was a hate campaign. There was a hate campaign that started freaking out about a week ago when they were like making a big deal, like, oh, hey, these reviews, they're embargoed until Sunday. They only do that with terrible movies. No, those embargo reviews, when it's a terrible movie, the embargo usually drops the Thursday before the movies come out.
Well, when it's a truly terrible movie, they don't allow critic reviews at all.
That too will happen.
That's the big sign.
Yeah, that's always they're just have fun with that movie. Right. It might be The Room. It might be Masters of the Universe. We'll see. Although I'm pretty sure they let Masters of the Universe get reviewed because they just didn't care.
They didn't care. It was in the dying days of canon films, and which is a great story in and of itself. There's a documentary about the rise and fall of canon films, but yeah, I'm very excited. A lot of people who are friends of mine whose opinions about movies I trust, yourself included, have come out of it saying that it's a lot of fun. It's really great. And the one thing that I've heard from everybody who's seen it, for the most part, that I care about, is they can't wait to see it again in the theater.
Between that and I want more of that universe now. Yeah, like just go ahead, start make it is built as a start of a franchise,
which is what the Sony executive said was that this is a potentially infinite franchise.
Right. And people are treating it like that's some sort of bad idea. Like, no. Like it's like we don't complain about watching a TV series that has a well-built season, like a structured out story. Like, let's just actually let creative people make creative stuff. Can we do that? Can we admit that Paul Feig is a good writer? Can we admit that the actresses involved in this are freaking amazing talents? And that was the thing that was getting me. Like, my wife and I, this is before we went and saw it. We realized that when we were talking about what was really making us, this wasn't a given that I was going to go see it. This was a case of I was kind of like on the fence as to did I want to see it now, later. I wanted to see it in theaters. I was curious about it, definitely. I was somewhat waiting to see where the Rotten Tomatoes public rating was going to be.
Sure.
I'll say that the Rotten Tomatoes 73% on the critic rating, that helped me out a lot too, because I not only looked at that, but then I looked at the bad reviews to figure out why it was getting pulled down to 73, and it was just like the people that were against it, they just didn't like sci-fi film. They didn't like horror. They didn't really like slapstick comedy.
And one of the biggest voices that reviewed it negatively was Richard Roper, and he and I have almost never agreed on a movie. So him trashing it was like a certification that it was something I would enjoy.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like it's definitely Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy as the stars of it. Like, they're the big star powers. But the more we saw in the later advertisements, when they started showing more of the jokes and the personality of the movie, it's Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones. That's like, I need to see those two. Like,
I've been hearing that as well. And see, as someone who has stood by Saturday Night Live for years and years and years, I'm used to them because they are. I think Leslie Jones is featured. Well, probably not next season. She'll be main cast.
Yeah.
But Kate McKinnon's been just rocking it on SNL for ages,
and they're amazing. They are 100% amazing. The characters, everything, and let's also give it up for Thor. You'll see he does a. we're gonna have as soon as we set this up. We said, there's things that we got to talk about now, because it's that. And then I went and I watched it, and pretty much one of the first things I said to you after. Well, I give you like a giant thumbs up,
the biggest thumbs up that Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, it was that push down on the inflate button. You need the big thumbs up. Like, I didn't even explain what it was for. You knew.
I knew.
You knew exactly what it was for. This was basically like the white smoke coming out from like after when they pick a pope. That was what that was. Is it white smoke or white smoke is a new decision? I don't care. It does not matter.
Not my wheelhouse.
Yeah. We've had a few new popes. We should know this, but we don't care.
I guess it doesn't really follow. And one thing I will correct you on real quick is that it was actually co-written by Katie Dippold, who is a very funny comedian and writer. And she and Paul Feig wrote the screenplay together. And I just mentioned that because she's been doing a lot of interviews lately and was talking about how the hate for this movie started before she ever wrote a word of the script.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, that's going to be I really want to see like some behind the scenes stuff like that. There's some very meta moments in this movie where they do a very delightful screw you haters effect to it. I like it. They're very. It's basically like they got heckled as a stand-up comedian, and they own the hecklers. That's the easiest way to explain it. But yeah, so I give you the thumbs up, and I'm excited. But then, like, the next thing that I tell you is like, we probably, like, as soon as you see it, we're gonna talk about this. I kind of want us to not talk. Well, like, we'll record it. I think we'll do like our special little Darren and Brandon at the movies. We'll do that, and we'll just basically it'll be us just doing a 1,000 spoilers of what we like and details and things like that. And we'll kvetch about it.
And we waited a month with Force Awakens. I think it was about a month. So maybe we can do the same for that. But I will, like I said, I'm going to see it tomorrow, so we'll be able to.
I think we'll do it like Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
I don't want to wait. I want to talk
to the general public. No, I already want to talk about it, and I haven't seen it yet.
Go see this movie, guys. Like, we're not getting paid to this. We're not going to end up on a billboard for it. This is just two freaking nerds that grew up with Ghostbusters, having seen a movie that so perfectly gives us Ghostbusters and gives us Ghostbusters for a next generation. For us, it's, we could say that it's. I will say, okay. I do have to address one thing that I've always pointed out. I was getting grumpy on the Fall Out Boy song. Mm-hmm. When it shows up in movie, I had actual goosebumps, hair standing on end. It just hit so perfectly. It sounded right. It was done. So awesome. As a standalone song, as a piece of a movie, which it is, perfect.
Nice.
I loved it. My wife pointed out that she didn't actually realize where it was, but when I kind of explained the scene to her, she realized, like, oh yeah, that was, she was getting very excited for that moment. It's like when they did like a shot of cocaine and adrenaline and nostalgia all at once. Yeah, that's basically where that hits. Just like, let's do this, and then let's get the story going.
Is it like that moment in Force Awakens when the quad jumper blows up? She's like, oh, I guess we'll take the piece of junk, and it cuts over to the Millennium Falcon, and it plays the Millennium Falcon theme,
and then go take it for a joyride. And exactly that type of feeling, like a very well handled nostalgia hit.
Nice.
And that, I think that's just, you could call it lazy writing, or you could call it like actually addressing things that have happened, like having fun, maybe. I don't know, being enjoyable. What? They're crazy ideas.
A franchise movie having fun. Jesus.
Well, let's actually talk about nostalgia in general. And wow, did you see that? Did you see that segue? That segue was hot. That segue was sizzling. That was topical.
Wow, that was amazing. That was amazing. And you haven't even gotten through the
I haven't even talked about what I'm segueing to, but you know it. It's Pokemon Go.
Of course.
Oh, gosh. I got it. I started it the day it came out, and I have lost weight. I'm exercising on a daily basis now, and I'm on my way to catching them all. I will be the very best. That's going to happen.
I'm sure. Well, that was the first interaction we had about it. You asked if I had gotten it, and I said that I had downloaded it, and that there was some sort of Bulbasaur right outside my house, and it was really hot outside, so I deleted the app. And then you said, but I'm exercising. And I said, good for you. That's great.
Good for you. I will die if I play this game.
I have reinstalled it, though, and my son and I have had some fun with it. I'm Team Mystic. I'm level 7. I've caught 35. I've seen 30. Yeah.
You know, see, that's the thing. Like, people are, okay, this is the one downside of this game, is people are talking about it like it's this great unifying game. It's bringing us together. We're going outside. We're meeting people with like interests, and it's this nice feeling of community. No, it's not. No. They put us in one big community, and then they divided us into like 3 different chunks. You know, they gave us Team Blue, Team Red, Team Yellow, and you know, there's a gym right across the street from my house, right?
Oh, wow.
Right across the street, right there. And every morning I'm waking up just like a blind rage because some degenerate from Team Blue thinks that they could take my gym and put their Pokemon in my gym. That I will not stand for that. No, every morning I'm just like, let's fight. Like, maybe we shouldn't have made a social app where 20 years of video game, our entire social interaction that they taught us was you make eye contact, you fight, but first I tell you about how I like fishing.
Yeah.
Got a little give me a moment there. Got a little wound up.
Yeah, that was, are you okay?
Oh,
that was a lot of good lung capacity, though. That all that walking around's really working out for you.
It's like, it's amazingly okay. Maybe it is unifying us. Maybe it's bringing together Team Red, Team Blue, and we're getting together and agreeing just how really weird Team Instinct is. Like Team Yellow, what is that? No, it's terrible choice.
I have friends in all 3 teams.
No,
and we're all friends, and everything's fine.
My neighbor is Team Yellow. I'm Team Red. Oh. I came home one night at 2 a.m. and I look over and the gym is yellow. So I just get out of my car and I find that if I can stand in my driveway, I can reach that gym. Like, I don't even have to cross the street. So I'm standing in my driveway. I'm doing like a power stance, just not even thinking about it. Just like getting really intense, playing my phone. And I'm like, I'm gonna win this gym. You yellows no, that's not a good thing to say.
Yeah.
Yellows, get out of here. Not a good look for me. No. And then he gets out of his car. We were fighting each other over and over again. He's like, you got me this time. My battery died. And so he finally goes home like, yeah, it's my gym.
See, I live about 15-20 minutes away from the closest gym. Mm-hmm. So I was level 7 before I even got to join a team.
Well, you can only join at 5.
I know, but
okay.
I was
but
5.
Further.
Well, 5 happened, and then 6 happened. I was like, aren't I supposed to be in a team now? I'm feeling this is like dodgeball all over again.
Can I join? So you were last picked in Pokemon
yeah,
Go,
exactly.
You're saying.
So then I was level 7. I was like, what's going on? So then I went to the actual gym the other night, and there was a gym across the street from the gym. And so I was just like, oh, while I'm here, I'll sign in. And I read the descriptions, and Team Mystic fit me because, you know, it's intellectual and not all weird and just roided out like Team Red.
That's the thing. Like, red really does actually. My favorite color is blue. And the only reason I went red is because I read the description and I thought it was going to get me more powerful Pokemon.
Right. I'm pretty sure it does nothing. Am I right?
Nothing. As far as like there's rumors going around that it might affect EV evolution. That's completely false because my wife is also Team Valor and her first one was a Vaporeon.
I saw a method earlier that someone had posted on how you can choose your EV evolution.
It's the first move.
I have no idea. I didn't read it. I just saw that it existed, and I was like, I'll check that out later.
Yeah, people are theorizing it's first move. Some are theorizing like it's the total of their combat power. There's some theories out there.
Gotcha. You know, so speaking of Vaporeon, which you just mentioned, one appeared in Central Park today, and a huge crowd formed because word spread that there was a Vaporeon in the wild. And so people gathered. This is following Wednesday when a Squirtle appeared in Bellevue, Washington. And they're fairly rare. And so hundreds of people showed up. And I keep seeing these things. There was a thing in, I think, Santa Monica where several hundred people showed up to get some kind of dragon thing.
Like Charizard. Dragonair.
Yeah, Dragonair. Right. or yeah, whatever it was. It was something like that. And I saw these pictures, and it was, you know, you would expect with these types of events that it would just be a bunch of people staring at their phones, right? But it was people like talking and interacting. And I have to say that I have seen more of my neighborhood in the last week than in the last 4 years that I've lived in this house.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I'm really joking about the whole division thing. I really love that comedy bit, though. That's something that I actually do on stage, and it's all fun. Because, like, the good thing about the game is, like, you can mute it, and then if a Pokemon pops, it just vibrates, so you could, you know, look down, then catch it, go back to talking. I did an open mic Monday over in Sherman Oaks, and I was with a group of like 20 people. None of them I even knew. No, but we're talking, we're chatting about like, this is fun. And we're discussing stories about how we're actually getting out walking. My son plays it with me. He's 5. He has an iPad. So we go on Poke Walks daily now. So we're both getting out, we're exercising. And as we're like talking about these stories, this guy comes rolling out. He's got like a bandana, a neck tattoo going on. Just like, you know, and we're just kind of like, we give it a moment. We're not really like talking to him initially. And then like, he pulls out his phone real quick and he's like, oh, and then he's like, who wants to get a picture with my Clefairy? And like, he's trying to get people to pose with this Clefairy. It was the most amazing moment.
That is awesome.
There have been stories. There have been stories about the downsides. People not paying attention where they're going. We've got like a couple hit by car stories, a couple mugging situations. We have over 8 million people playing this game now. Let's just talk probability and law of averages. When you have 8 million people doing one thing, things are going to happen. Just done. It's just, hey, like if we want to talk about how people were breathing and then somebody got shot in the face. They were breathing, not anymore. But
causality. Definitely.
The causality. Definitely. Like we're looking for things, we're being stupid about it. Let's not.
Well, there is at least one lawmaker now who is talking about regulations because it is a public hazard. Now, I want to point out that in our country, we will not regulate actual public health hazards like what are those things? Guns.
Guns. Yeah.
But Pokemon Go is fair game, and I saw.
You could also argue lead in the water, things like
that, all sorts of things. But Pokemon Go, that is the priority. I saw one video of a girl who got hit by a car. She stepped out into traffic because across the street was a Pokemon she wanted, and she was talking through this whole video about how it was the game's fault and the game was evil.
The mom even comes in and
that's what I was going to say. The mom, it cuts to the mom, and I'm like, okay, finally the mom can speak to reason. And the mom's like, I never should have let her play it, which might be true because she sounds stupid. So maybe she shouldn't play it.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that no one should play it. And I mentioned some of this to my son because I worry about him wandering into traffic anyway. But with this game that ups the risk. And he said, there's a splash screen at the beginning that tells you to watch where you're going. And I said, all right, you're doing it right, son. Move on.
And like the server takes forever to load, you have to stare at that screen.
Exactly.
Especially when you're in traffic. Wait, no.
No.
That's actually, I think, the more dangerous part. Is
I agree. And
drivers playing it.
I will admit, I've had it on when I've been driving. And that's
I'll do that.
It's only because you can, if one pops up, and you tap it real quick, you can catch it later. Like it's not going to run away right away.
And then you can park somewhere safely, and get it,
or get to a stoplight that has just turned red.
Yeah, the way my phone is set up, it's like I can actually run my Google Map instructions for where I'm going on top of the map for Pokemon. So it's literally it's showing me. It's basically showing me the exact same map that Google Maps would show. But then the instructions pop up, so it's actually telling me where to go.
Oh, that's
this
cool.
Also lets me know, like, I can come back. Like, I'll keep an eye on the radar occasionally, and by keep an eye, I glance over the same way I glance at my speedometer. And if I spot something, like a silhouette type thing, I make a note of where I am. I'm like, I might want to come back here later. And was not excited to find out that Jinx was popping up in black neighborhoods. Like that, I don't like that one because that was happening 2 nights ago.
Yikes!
In the predominantly black neighborhoods that I was in at the time, Jinx was the top one popping up.
And I would like to put out a little PSA, and a couple organizations and groups have had to do this already, and this is sort of ridiculous. But playing Pocket Man, playing
Pocket Monster,
Pocket Monster, playing Pokemon Go, while it does bring us together and it gives us things to talk about and do or whatever, it does not free us from the rules of common society. So if you are at, say, the Holocaust Museum or any other place of reverence like Arlington Cemetery or places like that, don't hunt Pokemon. You know what? They'll be there.
I'm curious. The Holocaust story, one thing that I was noticing that was missing on that story was any footage or even screenshots of Pokemon maps of people playing. Like, I heard, like, oh gosh, somebody caught a Ghastly.
Right, that was false. That wound up being
false. Okay. Because I was like, where's the picture of that? Because that would have gone viral in a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a picture. Someone doctored a picture together. But there are 3 Pokestops inside the Holocaust Museum.
There are?
Yeah.
Okay, those need to be removed. That's
right, and they have they've reached out to Nintendo and Niantic, and they're trying to get that pulled back. And that's something that Niantic needs to do.
Yeah.
Because they put out a call for people to add more. Yeah. But they also need to have that system in place because it's based on the old Ingress maps. So it's using landmarks, and pretty much every church around here is a Pokestop or a gym. Let's
definitely look at those Ingress players and ask them, why did they tag 3 locations in the Holocaust Museum?
And it may not even have been inside the Holocaust Museum. That's the thing. They may have tagged it from outside. I don't know how Ingress works.
Actually, that's a great point. Like, it may not... Were they actually... that was what I was trying to find. Are the Pokestops actually in the museum?
According to the museum, yes, they're inside.
Are they reachable from the museum? That's where I don't like that. Like, because if it's just like something that's outside, yeah. But at the same time, Nintendo and what's the name of the other
Niantic.
They can geofence it. Like, they can just no zone that.
Right.
Like, that's easy enough to do. Like, Lyft and Uber are able to do that at the areas around major airports. Like, they can force, like, when you walk into, like, if you're a driver or passenger, there are different areas where you have to be or the app just doesn't work. I drive Lyft occasionally. So LAX, if you're a driver, it only works if you're in a certain parking lot, and then it switches where it's a queue instead of a random.
Oh, that's cool.
For passengers, you have to be in one of the pickup areas where the only areas you can legally be picked up. Otherwise, there's like a 2-mile radius around LAX where you just can't use the app. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Well, and they do need to extend that. And I know the Holocaust Museum is working on it, and there are other locations that need to probably do that as well.
I'm going to trust that they're working on it, if not already have fixed that. And I'm going to trust that every TV news station that ran a sensationalistic story about this is not going to do a follow-up.
No, of course not. No, this is the new Dungeons and Dragons are teaching your children witchcraft stories.
Well, to be fair, Pokemon itself was one of these early witchcraft teachers as well.
Well,
20 years ago.
And
which is making it hilarious.
Causer of seizures back before it came to the States. Which
that's making it hilarious that it's sending us to all these churches that was shunning us 20 years ago.
Especially the Westboro Baptist Church, which is currently owned by a Clefairy called Love is Love.
I'm not going to lie. I really like that one. That's possibly my second favorite. My first favorite is, of course, the Pidgeotto that's on top of the White House named America. Because the Pidgeottos kind of look like a bald eagle, too. They got a little bit of that look.
It's the closest you have in Generation 1, I think.
Do you want me to ruin that for you?
No.
I got to ruin it for someone, though.
All right, go ahead.
I feel like an asshole for doing this too, but all these stories about like the gym that's being owned by this Pokemon named this or this Pokemon named that. When you guys play this, when you're looking at the gyms and the Pokemon names, you ever notice how you never see nicknamed Pokemon?
No.
The game scrapes all the nicknames off the Pokemons when you show them at somebody else.
That's probably good based on what I've named some of my Pokemon.
Yes. That's why there's no profanity filter on the nicknames.
That's interesting. I had not noticed.
It just doesn't matter. Yeah.
Huh. That's very cool. I wanna mention what has become my favorite Pokemon Go story, and I just saw this like right before we went on the air. So one thing that if you look through your Pokédex,
Right now,
not your Pokédex, if you look through your Pokemon list, the ones that you actually have, it'll show you where you caught them.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy who is at your ex-girlfriend's place, cheating on your current girlfriend, and you decide to catch a Pokemon there, there's a chance your girlfriend might look at it. And that actually happened to a guy. That's what this article is about. He was over at his ex's place doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing with his ex, caught a Pokemon in her apartment or house or whatever, and then went home like, doop-a-doo, look at my new Pokemon. And his girlfriend saw where he'd been. And I don't know that she's his girlfriend anymore. But at least he has his Pidgey or whatever.
Oh man, that would be sad if it was a Pidgey.
Yeah, it would.
Like at least like if it was a Snorlax, like I'm down with that. Like that's a good idea. Yeah. Like if it was a Snorlax, my first question is, where's this girlfriend's house? I don't want anything to do with her, but
I just want a Snorlax.
Just kick me down some of that Snorlax.
The one thing about that article, though, that article says Pokemon Go continues to wreak havoc across the globe. And that really bothers me because that is not the phrase.
That's absolutely, yeah. It's first off, it's wreak havoc. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing that. I don't care about the implications of what they're saying at all. It's the fact that it's wreak, not wreck. And so, Allison Sadlier at Entertainment Weekly, you need to reprimand your copy editor, and also learn the phrase, I guess.
Yeah, that's terrible. So it's basically this is the thing I was thinking about Pokemon Go is that it's not quite Pokemon,
right?
Like all the evolutions, like it is really okay. I'm speaking as somebody who went through 5 generations of Pokemon, and I have a copy of it's the 5th generation one, XY. I think I have a Pokemon X where it has every Pokemon to that date. Not in the Pokédex, but like in the computer. Like I have a like a Smithsonian version, basically, where you have to have one of each specimen for it to count. And that's that was a thing that I decided to do with my life at one point. And I'm very proud of it. Like I am the very best in my opinion. But it took a lot of different like evolutions and trades and scourings and oh man, and it was an amazing effort. Here it's just put candy on it and hit evolve, rinse, repeat, find it in the wild, catch it, find it in the wild, catch it. There's no trading, although they have announced there will be trading later,
right?
And there's no player-to-player battles. The gym battles are fun. And we get to be gym leaders, which is also fun because that's something that you didn't really get to do in the other game. Like, that would be. Oh, I hope they never do that. Oh, that'd be like a Fallout 4 Pokemon where you get your own settlement now. They're probably working on that, aren't they? Probably. Like every game feels the need to like do Fable 2 now.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, you have to run your household while you're doing stuff, but it's mostly go out. Find things, capture it, name it, because the naming is apparently like a fun thing, and it's like there's another game out there where you get to go out, find things, and name them. Oh, the segues are so hot.
I know it's so good. I'm sitting here just rippling with anticipation for where you could be going with this.
I am going to something that is 24 days, 14 hours, 4 minutes, and 23 seconds away.
Oy.
Ladies and gentlemen, No Man's Sky. And you have to, I think it's actually really happening right now.
It is gold. There's a picture of the developer holding the master copy. So it has sealed.
For those that don't know programming terms, when you finish a piece of software and you make like a master disk, that's called the gold disk. So it went gold. Last week we were talking about it with the whole things are happening. No one had any idea what things it were. We were just like, we're excited. We don't know why. It was like a video game glory hole. You know, something good. We were turned on. We were ready. And then now we know what was on the other side, and it was gold. So yes, this was late last week. I want to say this was like Thursday.
It was whenever we recorded last. It was that day.
It was that day. Yes. Yeah. Yes. No. It was Thursday. It was the day after. The day after
because we talked about it on the show. Because you said you brought up that things are happening, and I said, "Well, yes, technically, it's true that things are happening."
Yeah, they announced it with the on Thursday, so it was happening that day. Like they were finishing that last build when we were talking about it on the show Wednesday, and now the day after, it's done. It's ready to ship. It's ready to download. I will be playing this game in a month. Also, apparently, I now have a video game to completely take my time away in the meantime.
Great.
I don't know if there was really much to say about that other than I just wanted to take a victory lap and like get excited for the fact that that's coming, like that's there. So, is there one last like insult you'd like to hurl?
Not at all. Not at all. See, to be fair, I have also been looking forward to this game, and it has been fun prodding you with the delays. But I'm very excited about it. It's the most amazing thing about it is one number, and that is 6 gigabytes.
That's insane.
The size of the game, it's 6 gigabytes that it takes up on your disk, and for 18 quintillion worlds or whatever are in it, because it's all procedurally generated. It's amazing the amount or the small amount that it takes up on your hard drive, and it doesn't require a super powerful computer to run it either. All you need is 8 gigs of RAM and like a decent Intel chip in your machine, and it'll run.
This is either going to be a absolutely amazing work of art video game or one of the worst video games that we've ever seen. Like it could absolutely be like 30 minutes in of like, wait, why did we do this?
Yeah, I worry about repetition because of the procedural generation and the fact that it's $60. It's not a cheap indie game. This is AAA pricing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to let some other people play it first. I got to be honest. I'm going to gauge your reaction.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be one. I'm honest about this stuff. And honestly, with this one, if it's not up to snuff, it has that danger of like so much hype. I have drank this hype Kool-Aid for so long that if it's not there, I'm going to have to like review it twice at that point. Like if I have to give a bad review first, or it's either like my first review, like these are the 3 flavors it's going to be. It's going to be this game is Golden Sunshine and everything I wanted. This game is awful, and at which point I'm going to have to like go back a month later like, okay, it wasn't that bad. It just didn't live up to the crazy hype. Or this game is going to be like giving me full-on Stockholm syndrome. Like, no, it's going to be okay. It's exact. Things happened. Things were happening.
It's perfect.
Happening. It's procedurally generated happiness. That's what it is. We'll see where that is. But I just, like I said, I just wanted to take a quick victory lap of like, let that cathartic release of like that countdown and the hype. It's nice knowing that the hype train has a destination, and sometimes you need to take that victory lap. So sometimes there's like musicals that need to take that one last show.
Sure. Especially, I mean, speaking of hype as well, now that you mention it, musicals and hype and last laps, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the other day, Hamilton had something of a milestone where 4 of the original cast members had their final performance, and this was on July 9th.
What did they do to get fired?
Their contract was up, and they decided to do other stuff. One of these people is Lin-Manuel Miranda, who obviously wrote the show, has starred in it, has been working on it for 6 years, which is a substantial amount of time to work on one creative project, beginning to end. He's worn his hair long for authenticity on stage for several years now, which shortly after he left the final performance, went right off. It was a big night. The tickets for that night were going for upwards of $20,000 a piece. In the audience that night were our Secretary of State John Kerry, Rosie O'Donnell, Jane Fonda, Spike Lee, Charlie Rose, Marla Maples, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of parents, too, of cast members. Lin-Manuel left. Also, Leslie Odom Jr., who played Aaron Burr, left the show. Philippa Sue is leaving the show. She played Eliza, Hamilton's wife. And Ariana DeBose, who was one of the ensemble members who was in the original cast, has also left. And apparently the show ran long that night because they were constantly interrupted by applause. When he came out for the first time, when Lin-Manuel Miranda came out for the first time, almost 30 seconds of standing ovation for him just walking out onto the stage.
I want to be that one guy in the stage that paid $20,000 for the tickets. Like, I have never seen this show before.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know why tonight is special.
It's so annoying. I mean, can you just move it along? This is taking forever.
Right.
Like, he didn't even do anything. He's just standing there.
All he did was say his name. I don't understand. So then the final curtain call, they actually broadcast live on Facebook. And so, of course, it's, Lynn and Leslie and Philippa and Ariana do their bow or whatever, and then they all get back in the crowd, and everyone's, cheering, and someone shoves Lin-Manuel Miranda forward, which they have to do because he's a humble guy. Like, I think he legitimately felt like he deserved the same amount of applause as the people that were standing next to him, which is ridiculous. Because in terms of performance, sure, why not? But in terms of what he created with that show, he deserved an extra moment in the spotlight. So then, as he's standing there and people are cheering on, the West Wing theme comes up. The orchestra started playing the theme from the West Wing, which was appropriate because the presidential connotations of the show, but also apparently that's one of Lin-Manuel Miranda's favorite shows. And it was weird. It was a weird synchronicity for me because I just got into the West Wing.
Exactly. Like, you're getting ready for your screenwriting class there.
Right. Exactly. And I honestly thought when I was watching the curtain call, I thought I had left the TV on, or I'd been watching it on my iPad. I was like, oh, the theme song's on. I'm missing something. And then I realized that they were playing it for him. So, and they actually did a West Wing sketch or something when they were in DC, because they spent some time in the White House, and I think they did some West Wing themed fun while they were there. So it's sad that they're moving on, but they are moving on to good things, I hope. And the people that are stepping into the roles are going to have a really bad couple weeks as people try and adjust. But then it's going to be okay. And actually, the guy playing Hamilton he's been the alternate for the entire run so far. So he's been doing no, he's an alternate.
Okay.
So as opposed to sitting in the wings waiting for Lin-Manuel Miranda to get sick, he's the guy that did all the Sunday shows. And anytime Lin had to go do media appearances or whatever, then he would fill in. And apparently he's really good.
It was like some substantial amount of media work that he got called into doing.
Oh yeah. Well, also you have to remember he had to go to the Star Wars stuff because he recorded that song with J.J. Abrams. He also was at the same time writing music for Moana, the upcoming Disney film. There's something else too. He just co-wrote a song with Jennifer Lopez for Orlando. He was part of the big Broadway number that they did just to raise money for the Pulse Orlando Fund. And so he's always doing stuff.
Yeah. Like, there was a part of me that was like worried, like, I would not want to be him. Like, you just spent 6 years doing this and it's done. Like, now he has to follow that up. But then I remembered, like, you have to figure with Hamilton, he stopped working on it at least a year ago. Like, at this point, it's just repetition.
They had to lock it down.
Yeah, right. He had that, and he had the time to be creative elsewhere, and he was a smart enough creative to keep working on other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise that's a nasty blank sheet of paper to be looking at.
Well, and it's funny because someone asked him, like, you're so busy, how can you go on stage every day? Isn't that just exhausting? And he said that's his moment of peace because he knows the show. He's just going out and performing it and having a good time, and he doesn't have to think. Like, that's the moment that he doesn't have to think. Yeah. And so it's nice to think that maybe he'll get a vacation where he doesn't have to create for a little while. But then you remember that he started the process of writing Hamilton on his honeymoon.
that this is like this. Just some people are wired that way. They have to be doing.
No,
things.
I get
like,
it.
Yeah.
I get
don't. You don't. I'm not like if you put me in a shower, a long drive, poke walk. I'm coming up with. That's why I like a lot of my humor right now is going to be Pokemon related for a bit because hey, that's just what I'm doing at the time, and it bleeds in. But yeah, that's definitely yeah, I get that. Like it's like if you're, and that's the thing. Like this is where talent and skill have that big overlap. Like talent gets you started, but skill is learning those tools and like the repetition of it all and the right every day type mentality or do every day, whatever skill you're developing, do it every day, and that you learn that habit. And
you know that is actually one of the tenets that's pushed forward in the book on writing, which I don't know if you've read that by Stephen King, but it's actually a really good half memoir, half guide to the craft.
The segues are on fire, which is good because I had a segue, I did, and I completely forgot what it was. Oh no. Yeah, okay, we'll get to the segue later. But yeah, this is our fifth. For those of you that are counting, we're not doing a pick this or that dumber, but we just picked 5 different topics this week. We'll go back to our normal format next week. Don't worry. We'll have random people calling us dumb again very soon.
Sure.
But yeah, that was our 5th topic. Like we just kind of did like a grab bag of Stephen King and Stranger Things, right?
Yes. Well, and it all sort of ties together because we were talking about a whole bunch of pictures just came out and behind the scenes information about The Dark Tower, which is currently filming. There is a picture and a write-up in Entertainment Weekly featuring Pennywise from the It film that is in progress.
The Skarsgård.
The Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård. And actually, I'd like to start there because I have to talk about it quietly because my wife's in the house. My wife is terrified of clowns, and even the mention of Pennywise, specifically from It, will freak her out and send her fetal.
Is she afraid of Pennywise or clowns?
Yes.
Okay.
She's afraid of clowns, but especially Pennywise, because for a lot of people, that's where it started. Like that statistically, I want to say 90 is when that miniseries came out, is when the vast majority of chlorophobia cases started. Like that's when there was a huge upswing. And the thing about it is one of the people who prior to It was terrified of clowns is Stephen King. That's why he wrote it, because they scare him. And so anyway, there's a photo of the new Pennywise. And, you know, it's hard to get used to not Tim Curry and not that look that they created for him. But there were some really unsettling things about this new version that I had seen it online. I'd seen a picture. I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting or whatever. But when you see the print version, you can see some of the detail. And it's a regular clown face, white face with some red makeup. It's got kind of a Pagliacci sort of vibe to it a little bit with the lines because it's red makeup on white grease paint. And the nose, what's cool about the nose is that it's made up, and then the edges just kind of look like they're blotched in blood a little bit. And then one of his eyes, and this actually, Bill Skarsgård is a little bit wall-eyed, but one of his eyes is shifted. And if you look at the photo, you can't focus exactly on where he's looking, and that's a little bit unsettling. But one thing that I noticed in the print version is that the grease paint itself is kind of scaly. It's truly unsettling. I was like, oh, that's very interesting.
In a subtle kind of like, those are all things that you don't like. You have to look at to see, otherwise subconsciously it's just off in your brain.
Right. Exactly. And I like that. I love that idea. It's like it's the way that Freddy Krueger has the red and green sweater because Wes Craven found out that red and green next to each other are unsettling to the eye. And so it's that those subtle art direction things that I always enjoy.
Now, I have a friend of mine who's a clown, and he gets incredibly annoyed with this whole what's the phobia called again?
Calorophobia.
Calorophobia. And he actually is very excited for this adaptation of it because of something that Skarsgård said. He's actually pointed out that he didn't call himself a clown.
Mm-hmm.
He refers to himself as a being that takes the shape of a cloud.
Right, which is how it's written in the book.
Can I say that again? Because I said cloud.
Yeah,
nope,
I was gonna march through it, but
we'll keep it. We're just staring at clouds. That's happening.
Yeah, Pennywise, he actually takes many shapes over the course of the story.
Is he ever an angry crowd? Crowd.
Yep, a crowd of clouds.
He's a clam chowder. Is that what he is? Like, is he ever a?
Well, while we're talking about mispronunciation, it's calorophobia. I think I was saying that wrong before.
Okay, I thought I was going to get Skarsgård wrong. Like
Skarsgård. That's fun to say. What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
your friend the clown. Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is over the course of the story, Pennywise is a werewolf at one point. Pennywise is a shark at one point. And then, of course, in the climax of he turns into this big clown spider thing. My wife, by the way, is also terrified of spiders.
Mm-hmm.
So having a clown spider monster chasing people through the sewers of Derry, Maine, broke her, basically. In 1990, that's when my wife got broken.
Yeah.
So we can't talk about it. I have a copy of the paperback actually on my coffee table right now. So I'm gonna have to stash it because I want to reread it before the movie comes out. I love it. I love Stephen King, and
I'm probably gonna skip that one. Like
really,
yeah,
it's so messed up. It's a really messed up story.
I know, and it's still like lodged in my psyche from watching it. You know, what was that? 17 years ago. You know, it's like was it 1990?
I think it was
1990s. What?
I think it was 90. I'll look it up.
Exactly. But well, it's irrelevant because I was too young to be watching it.
Oh yeah,
and, me too. Yeah. But one thing
what's interesting about it. Sorry.
I'm going to let you go back to it. Go. What's interesting?
First of all, it was 1990. Yes, I just checked. Well, what I was going to say is that the TV miniseries spans the entirety of the book, and the book is basically split into half, where the first half is about the main characters as they were kids being terrorized by Pennywise. The second half of the book is when they go back to Derry to mess him up. Mm-hmm. And this movie that they're filming right now is just the first part. It's just the kids. And the book is a lot more violent and gory than the TV movie was. And apparently it's going to be a more faithful adaptation. So if the TV miniseries was unsettling to you, skip the movie.
Yeah, that's where I'm feeling with that. But on the flip side, the Stephen King that I am getting excited for is with The Dark Tower, which it looks like they're just doing the first book on this movie coming up.
Yes.
Is it? I keep forgetting to read. Is it a movie or a miniseries?
It's a movie. Well, here's the thing. So it's going to be they're doing a movie called The Dark Tower, which is basically an adaptation of The Gunslinger, which is the first book in the Dark Tower series. Then there's talk that there's going to be a TV series to follow it,
which would fit for like just because like there's a definite like there's a lot of parts that would there's only 3 characters from The Gunslinger that would carry over to anything after the first book. I might be wrong.
Well, actually, most of them don't show up in the first book because if you're thinking of like Susanna and Eddie no, okay. So you're thinking of Roland, Walter, and Jake.
No, Roland, Flag.
Walter, yeah. They can't call him Flag.
What?
So for those who don't know, the bad guy character in the Dark Tower series is Walter, who is also Randall Flagg. That's one of his aliases, and he's the same character from The Stand. It's the same guy.
Yeah.
However, the film rights to The Stand and the film rights to the Dark Tower series belong to 2 different companies. And so instead of doing like a Quicksilver thing like Marvel and Fox did, they said, no, you can't call him Randall Flagg. Which is fine. He's Man in Black. He's Walter O'Dim is what he's known as in the Dark Tower series, Eye of the Dragon, and I guess that's it. But he's also another aspect of him is Flag, and he pops up everywhere.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, that's part of 2 movie roles that Matthew McConaughey was offered, was to either play Walter in the Dark Tower series or Randall Flagg in The Stand, and because they're doing The Stand again also, and it would be awesome if he winds up doing both.
That's still up in the air?
Yeah, I think The Stand is stalled because I haven't heard about it.
Yeah,
I haven't heard about it in a while. But there's always the.
We are so far off the show notes right now.
We're still talking about Stephen King.
Yeah, but no, Jake is actually the third character. In case
Jake, yes. Jake.
I probably should say spoilers on that.
Well, we're not going to say about anything that may or may not happen.
No, like seriously, it's a book series, guys. Like we're excited. Like, yeah, come on.
It's a really strange book series because it goes through a lot of different genres, a lot of time periods. You know, you go from Gilead, which is this fantasy kingdom that's also a Western. That then it goes to Brooklyn, then it goes to Maine, like in our world, and the whole idea is that the Dark Tower exists in a different way in every reality, and the whole recurring theme is that there are more worlds than this, and that's something that comes up a lot. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to play with that through a lot of the other entries in whatever this franchise is going to become, because this actually technically could be a continuing franchise as well if they want to keep going with the stories,
right?
But who knows how they want to do it. I will say though, and this is I have a spoiler though.
Yeah,
but
no, go ahead.
Well, so all right, let me put it this way, and this only people who know will find this interesting. So at the beginning of The Gunslinger, I don't remember the exact line, but the gunslinger chased the man in black across the desert. That's the opening line of the book. And one of the notable things about the beginning of The Gunslinger is that he does not have the Horn of Eld, which is part of his quest. However, at the beginning of the movie, The Dark Tower, as the gunslinger is chasing the man in black across the desert, he has the horn. So if you have read the complete Dark Tower series, there is significance to that. Yeah. I'm trying not to give anything away, but that's really exciting to me because that means, in a way, it's a completely different story.
Which is right.
Yeah,
I think that's the entire point of it. Like it's another. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
No.
Are you getting that reference or not?
No.
How like there's the multiple dimensions and each one of them is their own.
No. All right, you know what? I'm going to spoil some stuff. So if you are going to read the Dark Tower series, then stop listening.
Okay, I'm not going to lie too. Like I had to read the Wikipedia entry for the Gunslinger to actually figure out where that story ended.
Sure. All right. So
but yeah,
here's what happens. Over the course of the story, we find out that he had the chance to get the Horn of Eld, and really the only way to topple or conquer the Dark Tower at the end is if he has it, but he doesn't have it. And while he's in the tower, it appears to him, and he opens a door and he steps through the door, and he is then at the beginning of the Gunslinger, the very first book again. So he's been going through this cycle over and over and over again, but never had the horn. Now he has the horn in the movies. It's a sequel to
what happened in the books.
Right. While being another iteration of the same story. So that is what is exciting to me, is that it's not just retelling the story, it's building on it.
So this could be actually, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's as canon as a Stephen King thing can be, and which I think is very interesting.
It's probably more canon than your average Stephen King movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And he's been involved in the writing, too. Apparently, he went through and just gutted Roland's dialogue because they had him talking too much when he's supposed to be... I mean, he's Clint Eastwood in The Man with No Name. He's that tough Western guy. And because he knew that Idris Elba, who's playing Roland, could do a lot with his face, he cut out a ton of the dialogue, which I think is great because... Roland shouldn't be chatty. I do have a complaint about Roland, though, and it's not the typical complaint that people have about his race having changed or whatever, which is ridiculous. And you know what? Stephen King's into it, so get over it, everybody. No, it's the pictures that they've shown from the set that they posted on EW.com and Entertainment Weekly. His whole outfit looks so clean. Because this is a guy at this point in the journey who has literally been chasing the Man in Black for years. And I always pictured it in reading the stories that he was just filthy, you know, that he was well worn and everything looks new. And so that may not be a factor in the story. This could take place after he's gotten new clothes at some point for some reason. I don't know. So that's not going to stop me from seeing this movie by a long shot.
This is us looking at production stills and getting a little bit, but yeah, it's the same thing like seeing a superhero costume, but not seeing it in the final on-film version.
Right, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that. McConaughey looks great with his like feathered jet black hair and his like black duster. I'm really excited about it. I know I'm not going to have time to read all 8 books again before it comes out, but if they continue the series and if we actually get to meet Eddie and Susanna and Boy the Bumbler, then that's great. And if we don't, then everyone involved has forgotten the face of their father.
Good reference. But the thing that I have to ask you about then is that you wanted to talk about Stranger Things and you felt you had. Did we lose our hot segue streak? Or
no, it's technically not a segue. We had talked about Stephen King being a subject on here, and Stranger Things is a new series that is on Netflix. It actually started today, which is July 15th. I'm 2 episodes in, and the pilot is, if you can imagine it being 1984, and Stephen King, who was super hot at the time, and Steven Spielberg, who was super hot at the time, had worked on a project together. That's Stranger Things. The movie is set, or I'm sorry, the series is set in 1983, and it's a faithful 1983 too. I mean, down to some of the sound effects. Like if you've only ever had a flat TV, then you don't know the weird hollow thud that you make when you bang your giant TV on the side because the signal's not coming in. But if you've heard that sound, then you will recognize it on this show. I mean, it's truly, the detail is
it's
phenomenal.
Got some audio nostalgia.
Right. But it's basically a group of kids. You know, it's very Stand By Me, Goonies, like that kind of feel, who are in this town that's sleepy. But you've got crappy dads that are kind of drunks. So you've got your Stephen King and Spielberg to a point. You've got lots of fog with flashlight beams cutting through. So you've got all your Spielberg there. There are shots that are literally pulled directly out of E.T. and moments that are pulled out of E.T. And in another reference point, and I could be wrong about this, but there are moments that are lifted from the terrible, terrible 1980-something film Pod People, which I've only ever seen as part of Mystery Science Theater 3000, but there are some nods in there that I think I feel proud for catching. But anyway, it's great. I fell in love with the pilot, and the second episode is very like, oh, we're making a series now, so we can't spend a lot of time dwelling on the stylistic stuff. But that first one, it'll suck you in, and the rest of it, I mean, it continues moving along in a very compelling way, and it's very creepy, and it's got some scary moments, and it's got Winona Ryder.
Yeah, that's almost all I knew about it. Was it's got Winona Ryder. It's on Netflix, and
it's even the soundtrack. It's got like 80s synth for the soundtrack. I love it. I don't know how much of it is nostalgia. Like, I wonder if people that were not alive in the 80s would enjoy it as much. I think so, because it's a really well-told story, you know, in the same way that we can enjoy movies that are set in the 50s, you know, like, you know, we can watch Catch Me If You Can and enjoy it as a story without falling into the nostalgia of that period.
But it's also neat to see like that level of period piece happening.
Yeah, it's cool because there are even things that my wife and I were watching, like, oh my God, those headphones, because they've got like a ham radio at one point, and they've got the headphones that we used to wear in school. There were like these big things with the wire thing that came up around the top, and they've got those. And then there's an aluminum TV tray with the metal legs that fold out from the bottom. That's about like maybe 1.5 foot long, and like my wife had a Garfield one, and I think I had like a Transformers one, and so that shows up in the series. So it's very cool for nostalgia reasons, but it's also a really good, suspenseful, creepy, compelling story.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that like I'm starting to see Netflix like advertise series. In fact, earlier today I saw them. They had a movie trailer like before a movie for Orange Is the New Black.
Yeah,
they just had the trailer in front of Ghostbusters. Oh, what's that? Did I segue it all the way back to the beginning?
Oh my goodness!
Did I do that? Did I do that?
Oh, you dark towered it.
It dark towered. Just out of it's nothing but callbacks today, guys.
It's true. We're not going to throw away any shot.
No, we looped it around. This was the inception of Five Dumb Things. Because of that, like I don't think we need to do any follow-up dumbness today. Yeah. Am I right on that?
No, I think you're good.
I think we covered that. Yeah. Do we have any shameless plugs?
I don't. I'm going to watch more Stranger Things.
Okay. Next week I'll be down at San Diego Comic-Con, so I don't have a lot of stuff to plug yet. My schedule is very fluid right now, and that's very nerve-wracking at the moment. So I'm trying to hammer that stuff down. Next week we don't have a show. The week after that we do have a show. Because I didn't prepare show notes, I have no idea who our guest judge is. So that's fun.
No, that's not how you do it. And next time we've got a very special surprise guest judge. This judge is amazing. You won't believe it.
See, I don't want to be facetious about it because I know the short list of people that are coming up. Like we've got a tornado chaser coming on. We've got we've got the winner of the Santa Monica Comedy Contest. We've got like I'm also looking to possibly book one of the actors that was on that movie that you were talking about.
Unfriended.
One of the actors of Unfriended might actually be coming on. So it's very like cool. We got fun guests coming up. It's just I didn't want to bug anybody on a Friday, and I really you needed to be talking to me about this stuff. Admit it. This was cathartic. We needed this. Yes. Okay. So this is my awkward pause where I pull up the note to actually say, be sure to like and follow us on iTunes and Stitcher, comment, subscribe, poke things, yell at it. Just make sure you get the podcast. You give us 5 stars or thumbs ups or whatever you need to do. Because for Brandon J. Carr and guest judge Brandon J. Carr's ego, I've been Darren J. Gendron, and we've been really, really dumb. I don't even know why I said your ego. That's